everybody. Well, it's almost football season. I'm excited for the action to start, but what I'm really also excited about is the action in the sports book. I dipped my toes into gambling during the football season last year, actually hit a big parlay that I've kind of been riding since then, and also have kind of dove headfirst into gambling responsibly, of course. So I'm really excited for tonight's guest because I'm hoping he can tell us about how his app is going to help us achieve even greater successes. Joining us on tonight's podcast is the Chief Operating Officer of Alloy Sports, Brad Kronthal. Brad, thanks for joining us on the podcast.
Thanks so much, Chris. Really excited for football season. So happy to be joining you, and let's get into it.
Yeah, man, like I was telling you a little bit before, I've been waiting to work some gambling in here because I'm excited for it. So I was so glad you guys kind of reached out, and I'm happy to promote. I kind of looked at the product a little bit myself, and I'm excited to hear, even more about it and how it can benefit our fans here at the podcast. So first, why don't you tell me a little bit about your background?
Yeah, absolutely. So a little bit about the company too. So Alloy Sports, we're a sports betting research platform. We are for the sports fans, for the sports bettors, giving them an edge and data-driven concepts to build winning betting strategies. And it was kind of conceived myself, my brother Spencer, he's our CEO, and then our third co-founder, Seth Schulk, who we've known for a while too, and his background's in data analytics. My background's in live sports production. So I worked for Masson for the Orioles network for 5 years in a production role. Then I moved to Monumental Sports, working on a sports betting show for a year before I came full-time with Alloy. So I'm fully entrenched in the sports world, the sports betting world. Really dove into the data and the analytics when StatCast came on in 2015. So really fell in love with that, and then building our own models. That's kind of how we started as a company. My brother Spencer and I building our own models through Excel, and then really getting into betting once it became legal, throughout the U.S. with the Supreme Court ruling in 2018. That's when we kind of took it into our own hands to get, a little more in depth with the betting space, especially with neighboring states from ours. We're originally from Maryland. I still live here. So, we're legal now and waiting on mobile. Hopefully for the football season, it'll be live. But as we got into the betting space, we couldn't find a place where we could do our own research that would connect stats to analytics to the past odds and give us an informed decision. We didn't want to rely on anyone else. We trusted ourselves. So that's kind of how Alloy came to be. But really combining the engineering principles, that's what our system is based off of. That's my brother, yep. Me with the sports analytics, and Seth with the data analytics background.
Yeah, I was going to say, because it's an odd or an interesting combination. I should say your brother having the background in engineering, and then yourself kind of having the sports news production background from what I could find about you guys. So, entering the gambling space kind of seemed like, an interesting combination of using both your talents.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been blessed to have a lot of key advisors and relationships with people in the sports and now the betting space. And they've helped out tremendously. But really, it comes down to our love of sports and having a product that we would use on the daily when using it for sports betting. And that's what we built, a product for the big sports fan and the big sports bettor who wants to do their own research. And we built that for them. They can do it efficiently. They can do it really simply and quickly. So that was our goal. And that's what we think we've achieved with our NFL product that's launching for the season.
Perfect. So before we get into kind of utilizing the app and how we can do it, what does your kind of knowledge of the gambling space have to be in order to use the app? Because like you said, it's kind of for maybe those advanced gamblers who are going more in depth into the knowledge, but can, the arbitrary, hey, it's Sunday, let me look up some stuff, maybe throw a couple of bets in, can they utilize or, benefit from utilizing the app as well?
100%. So we're marketing ourselves really to the big sports fan. If you're a sports fan and you know the players, you know the stats, if you're the guy yelling on 3rd down and 10, why'd you throw a dump off? It should have been a slant or a crossing route. That's who we're really for. Because we know if you're a big sports fan and betting is legal in your state, you're probably going to trickle over there to a sports book or an app, once you have some time, because you know what's going on in the sports world and you think you want to put your knowledge to the test and win some money off of it. So we are really for the sports fan. If you're in the betting space already, you'll pick this up even quicker. But really, this is for everybody. We really pride ourselves in the education. That's where we are trying to make waves on social media as far as our content section as well, with the education, not only of our platform, but of betting in general. And we've had a few key partnerships too with different betting education sites, such as Sports Wagering University. They're a betting education company, and that side of the betting space is really key and important. So promoting smart betting. I know you want to parlay, but smart betting is, betting the same unit size consistently
Yep.
Throughout the course of the season, and probably not relying on those parlays. But if you hit one, hey man, I'm not going to take that against you.
Like I said, it was in my early betting career. Like we had just got it live in Connecticut. So I was like, all right, let's see it. It wasn't like any major units. It was like it was what I was doing at the time was I was putting in parlays in for the 1:00 games and then would do later ones for the 4:00 games. And I would just be either like over unders or money lines. And I luckily hit one. And I think it was like $1. I won $300. So, the turnout was great. So, but it wasn't anything like crazy out of control.
Yeah. And that's what's fun about it. You can throw a few cents, a couple bucks here and there and play parlays. And that's smart. That's fine. But when you're wasting all your money on that, then you're probably not in the right space. You're probably not going to win.
Since then, I've learned a little bit more, and I'm definitely interested in the metrics and utilizing those. So why don't we dive into, your app and what users can anticipate and how they can utilize the app?
Yeah, absolutely. So the app and our new web platform. So we launched a beta for the NBA playoffs in April. Got a lot of people on the platform, got a lot of great feedback. How do we make it better? And that's what we're pushing for the NFL product. It's all going to be displayed online from a web app perspective on one page, but then also we're building the mobile app, which is going to be key as everyone's on their phone. And this is going to be a really nice piece to helping get us, new users and helping users get with us and meeting them where they are. So what we allow users to do is build their own betting strategy. So what does that mean? So using the engineering principles, through Spencer's career, we were able to build a platform that we know is battle tested and worked in that industry. So incorporating sports and sports betting, what we allow users to do is come on and add stats that they think lead to winning a bet. We compare every game head to head on how it's worked in the past with historical results and also compare the past odds for when those games were played. So we back test up to 10 years of data for the NBA, a little bit more for the NFL. And so really you're adding stats and you're building a metric. So if you think passer rating is important, good defensive interceptions is important, special teams play is important, you can add those stats and that'll start building your strategy. The next step is adding filters. So do you want to see a team, only factor in teams playing at home or on the road, certain weather conditions, teams on a winning streak or a losing streak? We really let you go, as in depth as you want, but also as simple as you want. Whereas, looking for one stat, if that's all you want to run, you can do that. So the final step is running that strategy with your stats and your filters. And we back test it against the time that you want to back test for. We default to one season, but you have those years of data, if you want to gather that information. So you'll see that through our results page, we kind of break it down differently than anyone else on the market. Instead of just giving you, here are all your results from the past 10 years, we know that there's value in certain areas. So we break it down into different buckets of heavy favorites, close underdogs, and heavy underdogs, and then a custom range where you can really see, hey, my heavy favorites were hitting at 71% this year. The other buckets weren't really hitting, but you can see the value. And then after that, your upcoming games populate. Where should you bet? Which games fit that strategy? And then we list the sports books where you can see kind of a marketplace. Where can you get the best odds as a sports bettor, and then go off and place that bet.
Okay. All right. That makes sense. Because I was wondering, like, now, is it just basically the metrics are all stat based, or are they also like gambling based where it's like, have they hit over or under? So say like Patrick Mahomes is over under for the game is like 249.5 yards. Can you look back, or I don't know if this is a future plan for you guys, can you look back and see like he's hit this over his last 5 games or 10 games, whatever it may be, and then know like, okay, maybe I'll bet that because he's hit it 80% the last seven games or whatever?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the prop betting is certainly something that people are really focused on. For us, we're focusing on the game.
Okay.
To start, we look to get into the props down the line, but we're focused on the spread and the money line, so the straight up. To start as we launch, and then as we grow, we'll look to incorporate the different styles of betting with the totals and the prop bets. But to start, we are looking at strictly the game, staying laser focused on that, and giving people the value that they want to see, because that's still the most bet on aspect of sports betting, is betting on which team's going to come out with a victory or cover the spread.
Gotcha. Now, what are your future plans now? Is it just for football currently? Like you said, you beta tested basketball. Do you anticipate a release for basketball season or even hockey? Or I think World Cup's coming up as well. There's, a lot of events coming up that you guys could probably definitely get going.
Yeah. Our long-term approach is to have every sport in our base. So we look to hit everything all the way down to esports. For the next year, we're looking at NFL, NBA. We'll look to get college basketball in there. There's a chance we get college football towards the middle of the season, but also, moving forward and then getting one of those sports that are year-round, those evergreen sports, whether it be NASCAR, UFC, golf. Those are the type of sports we're looking to incorporate as well. Obviously, NHL and baseball being the key for with NFL and NBA are going to be big to us as well. But right now we have the NBA, and now we're just redesigning the platform. So for football, we'll have NBA and then go on from there.
Cool. Now, I looked at like the metrics. You guys are going to have, hundreds and hundreds of metrics to choose from, which is, pretty elaborate. It's going to be depth. Do you have, some personal favorites that you can utilize, or do you guys have like maybe some tips on the website of, some common ones to use to start out as you're kind of building your knowledge on how to utilize this app?
No doubt. So we're still building out our core base for football right now. For basketball, what we did was build our own, and that's what we'll do for football as well. And that's another piece of this education that we plan to release. So not only showing people how to use the platform, but sharing our successful strategies. So a user or a sports fan can take that information and plug it in themselves and tweak it, or just take it as face value. So we definitely plan on running our own strategies, sharing them with our users, and then having them play off that. And when a user signs up, we plan to have a couple successful preloaded strategies. So they don't have to start on their own. They already have a couple that they can base their intuition on, or just play off of them. So we'll definitely be sharing that, and transparency is a huge thing, a pillar of what we do. So that is one thing that we will harp on as we continue as a company into different sports and future growth.
That's great. I mean, that's a great, definitely like philosophy to have for sure when you're approaching this market. So now, where can people sign up for the app and, find out all the notifications for you guys?
Yeah, so we're still looking at September for a launch. So the app will be Alloy Sports. We're working on that release. Our website's alloysports.com. Again, September will be when the new design is launched. So it's going to look really nice, really clean, really easy to use. The homepage is going to be a really nice feature where kind of like a dashboard for you as a user. You'll see, your pin strategies or your save strategies and the upcoming games that fit it. You'll see the upcoming game just as a weekly schedule there. And then, the two different platforms we offer as well. So that being our regular platform, which I've kind of described. And then we have a quick start platform. And this is really for the average sports fan, average bettor when it comes to the casualness of those bets. Yeah. You can build a strategy in 30 seconds or less. We're listing a few different characteristics. Do you like a good passing team, strong rushing team, good defensive team, and then add a filter, again, home road, winning or losing streak, stuff like that. And we'll run your strategy. It's literally clicking a few buttons and you can build it in 30 seconds or less. So that's going to be another way, to help newer bettors, have that data-driven approach with us. So yeah, alloysports.com is where you'll be able to get everything. And we offer a month free, which is really big for us and our users. You'll be able to get on the platform and use it to its full capacity for 30 days and see the power in it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a huge stat guy myself, so I've been trying to figure out what metrics to track, and I'm definitely going to be taking a look at this. I already created an account with you guys, so I'm excited to kind of see what you guys are going to produce and how it can benefit me for sure. Now, are you guys also doing some stuff with Twitch? Did I see that?
Yeah. So we launched a Twitch channel within the last month. And what we're looking to accomplish there is interview different types of people in the betting space. So highlight our partners, different handicappers, people with success in the industry, different advisors, sports personalities. So far we've had a few really nice interviews there, and we'll repurpose them on our social accounts just in really quick formatting. But yeah, with our Twitch, we're looking to get people on there, and as well as our Discord. Our Discord is going to be really nice to how we grow. We're going to be sharing strategies on there in a more quick messaging type of environment. So that's going to be a fun for the NFL season.
Yeah, Discord is definitely huge for just getting that quick information out, just the interaction with other, people who are just trying to share their strategies. For sure, I'll be joining that as well. Now, I just get a little bit background to yourself. Like I said, you worked in sports production. You kind of local Baltimore guy, then worked your way up to the Big Ten Network and did some time at ESPN. What was your favorite event that you've ever covered in your time working in sports?
Wow. I worked the 2019 World Series in
nice.
DC. So it was actually a wild World Series. So it was kind of like working 24 hours. And if you're from Baltimore or DC, or if you're from DC at all, anyone knows if you're not literally in DC, getting into the city can take you anywhere from like 45 minutes to 3 hours, depending on traffic every day. So me living in Baltimore, like an hour away, was kind of crazy, but going in at off hours was great. But the Nationals beat the Astros in 7 games that series, and every road team won. They won every road game. So that was kind of a wild World Series. So that was definitely up there with one of the best events that I've worked. But I've worked a ton, different games, preseason games, regular season Orioles games, and then different college events as well. So there's just been a ton, but the World Series definitely stands out.
Yeah, that'd be a fun event for sure. I mean, I drove, just my experience, I went on the Beltway one time and I hated it, and I don't plan to do it again. So that's my experience driving in the DC area. It was a nightmare. That in Chicago were just god awful. But that's cool. Yeah, I mean, myself, I worked in college athletics for like a decade before my other careers that I'm in dabbling in now. So I always love hearing stories, just events people covered. Now, my last question for you, as a Baltimore guy, do people in Baltimore just hate talking about The Wire now?
It's pretty funny, and everybody knows The Wire, and they're slowly like incorporating it more and more in different events now with the Ravens games. Now the Ravens are coming out to The Wire whistle, and
Yeah,
now
Baltimore Orioles closer is doing it now too.
Yep, Felix
Game,
Batista just started. Yep, he's coming out to Omar's whistle. It's a big thing here, and I remember the first time I heard it, I think last year, when they used it for the Ravens game, the first like sound of the whistle, the first octave, the whole stadium just went absolutely bonkers. So yeah, it's a big deal around here.
Yeah, that's awesome. I mean, I love The Wire. I when I was in college, I watched it, and then I would just religiously during finals, I would just rewatch The Wire every year. It's definitely my top favorite show ever. So I was figuring Baltimore guy, just here if they just hate talking about it now, because I could talk about The Wire forever.
Yeah, no, I think you're most people would be aligned with you in this city.
Awesome, man. All right, Brad. Well, why don't you get one more plug out for Alloy Sports before we wrap things up?
Absolutely. So yeah, check us out, alloysports.com. We'll be coming out with an app as well soon, so be on the lookout for that. We're going to help you build your own betting strategies. You're going to have the data that backs up your sports betting picks, and you're going to bet with more confidence, and we're going to help you win. That's our plan. That's our goal. And you'll see the results in real time. So alloysports.com is where you can find us. 1 month free. You got no reason not to sign up.
Yeah, everyone go check out Alloy Sports and make some money this football season. Brad, thank you so much for joining us tonight.
Thanks so much, Chris.